Hey everybody, I'm Courtney. I am the person behind So Lovey Holistic. If you've never actually met me before, hi. This is my living room. I'm definitely not a photographer, a videographer, made to be in front of a camera at all. I bear with the quality of this production. I just really felt like it was important to connect with people and um, to continue to do outreach and try to help people however I could. And I feel like for me, one of the things that's been really, really helpful these last couple of weeks has been meditation. Um, just as a way to stay grounded, as a way to separate from kind of the emotional upheaval that difficult times can sometimes bring with them. It's just been a good way to continue to feel like I'm a part of something bigger than just myself and what's kind of going on in my own house and in my own head. So I would like to continue to connect with people in this way. I've had some of my meditation group members reach out to ask about doing some online meditation, and this would definitely be a possibility. I just have to kind of figure out the technological piece. I don't know if I want to do it like this and have it recorded and upload, and then people can follow along as they want to, or if I want to do something through Zoom or another collaborative platform where people could come together and we could be meditating as a group instead of the sessions that I normally do in New Paltz. So we'll see, but I figure for right now this was sort of a good place to start, to say hello and to introduce myself and the idea, and just to kind of remind everybody that we're all still here. As difficult as it is, we're still here. So I don't know what I really wanted to say today except those things. I did want to share, I'm reading this book, Why Buddhism is True by Robert Wright. And I always preface all of my meditation teachings by saying that you don't have to be Buddhist to be a meditator, and you don't have to be Buddhist to meditate with me or with the groups that I run. But I definitely think that the philosophy behind Buddhist meditation and mindfulness in particular is really, it's the important part of why I do what I do. So there was a passage in this book that I felt like I wanted to share today because I think it gets at the heart of how meditation is helping me right now. So, one of the things that I think happens to us all the time, not just when it's a global pandemic, but maybe more when it's a global pandemic and we're quarantined and people are scared, and those things are true, and people are frustrated and people are sad and they're heartbroken. And I get all of that. I think it's really important to acknowledge that those feelings are true and they're real and they're valid, and that these are scary, frustrating, weird, uncomfortable times. But I think that, one of the things that sometimes happens is that we get kind of caught up in those emotional states, and that becomes the reality. It's, my fear is my reality. My anxiety is my reality. My frustration is my reality. And I don't think that that serves us. I think that actually then traps us in sort of spirals of negativity, and I just don't think that that's helpful to anybody. So one of the things that I think is really helpful with meditation is it just allows space to accept what is as a neutral thing. We don't have to attach a value to it. So, you know, being quarantined right now feels scary and frustrating and depressing, and maybe we feel like we're losing things. Maybe we are losing things. People are losing things, business owners and stuff. But being able to take a step back to just recognize that that is just it is just a thing. It is that you can be frustrated and just have it be that, not have it be the end of the world, right? You can be afraid and not have it destroy you from the inside out. And that's really kind of, for me, what the core of meditation practice is about. So one of the things in the Robert Wright book that I just shared He says, in fact, one of the take home lessons of Buddhist philosophy is that feelings just are. If we accept their arising and subsiding as part of life, rather than reacting to them as if they were deeply meaningful, we'd often be better off. Learning to do that is a big part of what mindfulness meditation is about. And so that was kind of, the main thing I wanted to share today is that all these feelings are real, they're happening, they are meaningful to you and your experience, and you are justified in all of the things that you're feeling. But it's also really important to learn how to observe them with some level of detachment so that they don't consume you, um, because that's how we lose our ability to persist. Um, so take that for what it's worth, and I hope it's helpful. um, I also wanted to share a quick practice that I've been doing in a couple different ways, and that's loving kindness meditation. Um, One of the ways that I've been using it a lot is I had come across something on Twitter where a Twitter user had said that this is a good way to count out the 20 seconds for washing your hands, to recite the lines of loving kindness of, may the whole world be happy, may the whole world be healthy, may the whole world be safe, may the whole world know peace. And if you meditate on those thoughts while you're washing your hands, it makes the 20 seconds go by pretty quick. And it also sends some really good, um, you know, feeling and love and energy out into the world. You can do it as a longer meditation, which I'm not going to lead one right now, but just kind of a quick lesson on loving kindness if it's something that you want to do in your day, if you feel like it would maybe help you. Um, it's really easy. You can use a script kind of like the one I just shared, or sometimes the wording will be a little bit different, but it's essentially, may you be well, may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may no harm come to you. However you want to phrase those, whatever resonates with you, is fine. It's, there's not really a rule. Well, maybe there is, but I don't follow them, so we're not gonna. But the way that you would do a traditional loving kindness is then you would think about, the first person you would think about is somebody that you love. And so you would really try to um, feel that person's presence even if they're not with you. So it's not just kind of like an intellectual thinking about, your family member or your friend, but really kind of trying to just kind of think about their presence, their energy, how it feels like when you're with them, if you have specific memories. Sometimes for me, I'll have an olfactory trigger and I'll actually be able to kind of conjure their scent if somebody wears, perfume or something like that. But you would really kind of try to mindfully be with that person and then repeat those phrases while holding the presence of that person in mind. So thinking about somebody that you love and then repeating the phrases of may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you be safe, may you know peace. And then the next repetition would be focusing on somebody that you kind of have a neutral relationship with. So thinking about somebody that you encounter in your daily day, somebody in your neighborhood, somebody at the place where you get your coffee, your mail carrier, somebody at your work that you don't really know. Maybe they're in a different department or something, but just somebody that you occasionally interact with, but you don't have a relationship with. And then you would repeat those phrases. And then the next one is somebody that you have a challenging or difficult relationship with. And I find that one is where all the good stuff is, because it usually will break free some kind of understanding or some kind of resolution if there's conflict. But then you would repeat those phrases of, may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you know, may you be safe, may you know peace. And then there's a couple different variations. You could then turn those phrases inward and give yourself some loving kindness. May I be healthy, may I be happy, may I be safe, may I know peace. And then you can also think about globally all living beings. May we be happy, may we be healthy, may we be safe, may we know peace. And then just a variation that I've been doing, my little COVID-19 variation, is thinking about people, kind of changing it a little bit, but thinking about people, perhaps family members who are particularly vulnerable, whether they have underlying health conditions or they're older or just maybe they're isolated in some way and just feeling like they have a different level of vulnerability. So doing that to a vulnerable family member. repeating the phrases to a vulnerable friend, and then thinking about my local community. So, people in my local community who may be vulnerable or who I know are really having a more challenging time. So, as a small business owner, I'm thinking about other small business owners who are really being negatively impacted right now. And then thinking globally, particularly as this is a global pandemic and there are people all over the world that are in very similar situations that as we find ourselves here in the United States. So, repeating those phrases collectively for kind of those populations. So instead of thinking about just one particular person, kind of shifting it up a little bit for these particular circumstances. So, but that's just maybe an idea that will help. Like I said, I've found it to be really helpful, even if it's just to repeat the phrases for the 20 seconds that it takes you to wash your hands. You're still going to be then doing that multiple times a day, and that's some good love and energy to put out into the world. But then also just if it's a practice that resonates with you, you might find that it brings you some peace and some groundedness in this really uncertain time. And then, yeah, I think that's it for now. I plan to try to do this at least once a day. And like I said, maybe moving forward, doing some group meditation practice on Zoom. If you have specific ideas that you would like for me to talk about or particular meditation practices that you would like to learn more about, I'm happy to take suggestions and tailor it as necessary. Otherwise, I can just do maybe a getting started series, talk about how to start a meditation practice, a little bit what meditation really is, what it's about. I think there's a lot of misconceptions. I think a lot of people talk about meditating. I don't know that a lot of people really understand, particularly the type of meditation that I use, which is Vipassana meditation or mindfulness meditation, like what you're actually trying to accomplish. It's not emptying your mind, which is good because I can't empty my mind ever, but I can learn to grapple with my mind a little bit more. And I will say before I wrap up that I had gotten away from meditating the last couple of days. It's just been, chaos, quarantined chaos, but chaos nonetheless. And I just really felt like I was in a free fall. And I did meditation yesterday morning. Immediately upon waking up, I had woken up with a nightmare. And so I didn't even get out of bed. I just got up or didn't even get up. I laid there in the dark and did a meditation. And it's hard to put into words what happened, but just calling attention to the breath and just being there with my thoughts, it just suddenly felt very solid. The free fall and that kind of ambiguous limbo that I had been struggling with for days previous, it just suddenly got very quiet, and it just felt like suddenly there was a cohesiveness internally in my mind. Like I said, it's kind of hard to describe, but it just suddenly felt like it just went and it was centered and grounded, and suddenly I was like, okay, I can deal with this now. So it really was it was pretty impactful, and it was maybe 15 minutes in the dark before I even got out of bed. So it doesn't have to be a huge practice to be an important practice and a helpful practice. So so those are some of the things that I'd like to start integrating into this time. And like I said, bring your suggestions for anything that you'd like to know more about. Obviously, I can sit in front of a camera and babble for a long time too, so I can do that if that's also helpful. Maybe just distracting you from whatever's going on in your head by telling you way too much about what's going on in my own. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking now. I will see you soon. Be well.